Welcome everyone to the 28th grade meeting of the Klingon Language Institute and the second virtual meeting. The presenters that you're seeing here are the staff of the Klingon Language Institute, and we are led by our long-term illustrious leader, Lawrence Schoen. Lawrence, can I turn it over to you?
Sure, let's go with that and hope that I don't lose power midway through. Okay, let's assume he's turned it over to me. No speaking stick or keys to the Great Hall. For those who don't know, I have been without power since last night. We're getting by on emergency batteries plugged into the phone, generating a hotspot, and a laptop that is leaking laptop juice, as they say. But we're here, or I'm here, you're here, together we are here, inclusive we. Welcome. This is the 28th qep'a. We've been at this for 30 years now, which every time I'm reminded of that, I'm just blown away. It seems extraordinary to me. And there are more of you now here than ever before. So we often like to start out, as we're doing today, with a state of the KLI. It seems all the more relevant given our expansion, so many new people, so many ambitious projects that we have. I want to share with you some of what we're doing and what is to come. And I'm looking at multiple screens so I can make this happen. If you have questions or comments, put them in the chat. I'll find them eventually, or find me at any time over the course of the qep'a, and I'll do my best to inform you, engage you, and maybe even delight you, but no promises. But let's get started with the state of the KLI. Probably first and foremost, I need to thank the co-presenters that you see up on your screen, Alan, Chris, and Jeremy. Some of you know this, some of you, this will be news. We are transferring the reins of power from me to this trio, this triumvirate, so that I can, after 30 years, gracefully exit, as it were. It's well past time, and three of them are able to take on the responsibilities involved in running the KLI and seeing that it continues to endure, because indeed we continue to expand. Pragmatically, a lot of this involves emptying things out of my basement. As you might imagine, over the course of 30 years, the KLI has accumulated a lot of stuff. Everything from press clippings and merchandise to Mark Leonard's head. And that's a story, and qep'a informs me that that's one of the stories, the must-hear stories that will be told sometime over the span of this conference in some channel or other. Anyway, all of that is finding new homes. Merchandise is being sent off to Chorg, so that he can send it out to you from the KLI merchant page. Other things are going to end up in qep'a's home. Probably some of it will go to John Shi as well. And another large chunk, I'm very happy to say, is going to a research library in Texas that is accepting the papers. You can't see me making the air quotes around papers. The papers of the KLI, so that years from now, some very confused graduate student can enter the archives of their library and see the history of the KLI, all the newspaper clippings, all the letters, all of this stuff. And that's kind of exciting that we have a legacy and it will be preserved. The other big news is that after this concludes, and after we've had a chance to recover and take a deep breath and catch up on sleep, we will be setting in motion our plans to return to nonprofit status as a registered 501c3 organization. This lapsed some years ago, and we want it back. It affords us some opportunities. back when we first got it more than 25 years ago, I think, it was a very painful process, and it was painful to maintain, which is one of the reasons it lapsed. And now all of that has been streamlined. So we should get it back in no time. And when you join us at the next qep'a, we will, I believe, once again be a 501c3. And if for no other reason, then any contributions and donations will be tax deductible here in the US. So start saving now to give us your money. Yeah, that's how that works. But more importantly, it will afford us other opportunities and access to materials and make the rest of the world easier for us to work with, and them more willing to work with us. Next up, a personal favorite of mine, and the area that I would like to hold on to as everything else passes from my hands to the other three, is the KLI Press. I'm very happy to say that this year we have released translations of The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, as well as The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. These are both available as ebooks and as trade paperbacks. I think the trade paperbacks just arrived yesterday, so you can order those. And more recently, we have an original novel, cha'maH by chorghDIch, and the ebook of that is available from the KLI merchant page, and I am engaged in a battle with the forces of Amazon to get the trade paperback done. But that's moving along nicely, and we'll have that by mid-August, I suspect.
Lawrence, I want to add a quick note here that will be doing a reading from that book probably Saturday midday, depending on your location in the world.
Okay, excellent news. So folks, keep checking the schedule because things will change, because we like to keep it fluid. Thanks very much. Also, as part of our publishing program, the Worlds of Translation program, a personal favorite that I began years ago when I realized I was the intersection of two very specialized groups, Klingon speakers and professional science fiction authors. We have begun finally publishing these short story translations. They are only in Klingon. There is no English, because we would have to pay for the English and we couldn't afford that. But for the Klingon rights, we paid only $1, and that's another fun story. But this is not the time for that. We are constantly seeking additional translators, and if you'd like to try your hand at that, please contact me. See me anytime during the qep'a or afterwards. I may come track some of you down, because I have in mind, hey, you'd be a great translator. And for those of you with a little more expertise, we're also looking for editors. Related to all of the publications, we have something new. Sadly, I don't have it here now, but coming soon, bling, we will have translation pins suitable for adding to your sash. These are designed, Alan, I forget what you call the kind of repeating design?
Tessellations.
Tessellations. See, I thought it was that, but I just didn't trust my memory. Tessellations, such that, well, you get a pin for every project, every piece of work that you translated that the KLI publishes. So if you've translated 2 of the stories from the Worlds of Translation, you'll get 2 pins. And the neat thing about them being tessellated, look, I'm conjugating it on the fly. The great thing about it being tessellated is you can connect them to one another and build fanciful designs running the length of your sash, if you indeed have that many pins. And we're providing those pins to our translators at no charge, because, hey, you gave us a translation. Okay, moving on to other things with words and things that you can print. The long-awaited ebook editions of our quarterly journal. I am finishing up a style guide. Pardon me? Yes? No? Good Lord, man. Okay, back to chorghDIch and the ebook versions. I am finishing a style guide which will help us to take the existing print versions of the journal, mark them, well, basically with markup text to indicate what needs to be done to that text to turn it into an ebook. We'll be taking volunteers. Anybody interested in this project should talk to Chris. He's spearheading that organization. And by this time next year, if not well before, all volumes of the journal should be available digitally. It's been a long time coming, and I thank everyone who's been working on this for their patience and their hard efforts. Moving. Excellent, excellent. So, and this is a great project, particularly for people who may not feel that their Klingon skills are up to a level of translation. This is reading and applying a rule system and marking it. You can be involved in this very important project. So thank you in advance, those of you who are going to volunteer. Next up on the State of the KLI, I need to mention our ongoing talks with Duolingo. You may be aware that they are changing their management and support of courses, including the Klingon course. And we are in discussion with them to take over the course fully from them. Jeremy will have more on this at some point in the schedule. Jeremy, is that on the schedule yet when you're holding that talk?
Yeah, this evening I'll be talking a lot about Duolingo, just the whole thing, and we'll have some other guests in there talking too. But the basics is that Duolingo is no longer having volunteer contributors, but is making an agreement with the Klingon Language Institute to provide staff to keep the course going. So the course is not going anywhere and hopefully should continue to have major improvements in the future.
And that's astoundingly exciting to me, because the Duolingo course has allowed us to reach out to many more people who didn't even know we existed. And I think a lot of, particularly the fresh faces, if I can call the little boxes on my screen faces, a lot of the fresh faces we see here today are here as a consequence of discovering us through Duolingo, discovering Klingon through Duolingo. So we're really happy to be partnering with them to take the Klingon course, their Klingon course, to the next level, and having much more of a hand in it and more control of where it's going to go. That's very exciting, and that's where lawyers are involved now, because of contracts. So more on that when we have it. Tune into Jeremy this evening, and he'll have some more details because he has been intimately involved in that whole project. And I'm going to let Jeremy take this next one, because we are going to reveal something we've never done before. We're normally so busy preparing all the last minute things of the current qep'a, we've given no thought to what are we going to do in a year. This year, we know when. We know when the 2022 qep'a will occur, and I'm going to ask Jeremy to do the big reveal of that date.
I don't have the date in front of me. Don't remember what it is.
Surprise!
Alan, do you have the date?
Well, that didn't go as planned. Let me open up a calendar, and maybe I wrote it down. I did not, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume it's going to start on Thursday, July 28th, 2022. Something regulars have heard is that every year the qep'a is a birthday present I give to myself. And as it happens, in 2022, my birthday falls on the Wednesday before the 27th. So I will be ancient and will come to the qep'a the next day to rejuvenate myself. So put it in your calendar now, July 28th, 2022. Those of you who need to take time off, put in that request now. Our hope, of course, is that we will be meeting live, but given the state of the world, we can't guarantee that. More's the pity. But that is the intention, certainly. And we'll have more on that as reality impinges on us. But we wanted to give you the date now. The last thing I want to tell you is we are planning not just already for next year's KLI, but we are planning for the one after that. The chorghDIch, our largest gathering ever, our big 30th anniversary conference. So once this KLI concludes, we're going to be planning two cha'maH, the next one in 2022 and the big shindig in 2023. We are tentatively returning to the greater Chicago area for that and hoping that folks from all over the world will attend. You've got 2 years notice. We haven't locked in the date yet, obviously, but it's going to be big. So big, we may have to ask Maltz for a special word for just how big it's going to be. That's what's on the books right now. That is the current state of the KLI, and so much more that we're going to be doing in the coming year. I'm very excited, and now you know. So I think that's all I have to say for this part of the opening ceremonies. I will kick it back to Chris and Jeremy and Alan and go from there, unless there are specific questions that people want me to take now, and I don't know what the plan is, which is okay. Well, there's a huge silence, so I'm looking at some of the...
Sorry, I was pressing the wrong button, but I meant to be talking. Some of the people have asked again for us to repeat the dates for next year, 2022. We are working on having the KLI for July 28th through 30th, 2022. We do not have the location set yet. There's a good chance it will be in Chicago, but we need to finalize some things. And then 2023, we don't have dates for yet, but we are already starting to work on that. And that one will even a higher chance be in Chicago. And I think Lawrence has covered most of the stuff we wanted for the state of the KLI. Let me see if Alan or Chris had anything they wanted to add in.
I will say only that the KLCP certification test sessions are all set, and everyone involved should have received direct messages. I have received responses saying many of them have. So we're full up. We still have room on Saturday for more people, but I'm hoping that everybody who plans to take the test has already said so and has already been assigned to a session.
That's a great problem to have, being full up for the course and for the testing. I like that problem. I also want to address one question that came up asking if our next KLI goes live, will we still have an online presence? And Shekram has mentioned something as simple as having a Discord laptop hooked up all the time in the main room. And I think that at a minimum, we'll have something like that. Obviously, we haven't given any thought to any of the particulars yet because our focus has been this year's KLI. And invariably, we will learn things over the next several days, things that work, things that didn't work, things we wish we'd done that we will be incorporating. The Discord channels that have been available all year, I think benefited tremendously from last year's KLI, and we'll continue to do so. And given that even if we are meeting live, there are plenty of people who are probably here now who will be unable to travel for one reason or another. We don't want to disenfranchise anybody. So we'll try to have an online component. I have no idea what that's going to look like yet, and I doubt I'll have a much better picture before the end of this KLI.
But if you can find a way to get to the KEPA in person, it's even more amazing than the virtual one. Try to be there.
That says it all right there.
All right, so maybe just a couple other quick notes about how this is all working. Trying to do all this virtual is craziness, but here we are, and have a good time. Do lots of talking with people. If you are a beginner, ask for lots of help. There are lots of helpful people around. If you attend something where people are speaking Klingon, enjoy listening to it and jump in if you can. Hopefully we've got a lot of stuff for everybody to do all over the schedule. So check the schedule. We are continuing to add things to the schedule, and there may be things that need to get moved or replaced from time to time. So check the schedule frequently to make sure you are up to date on what is going on.
And one last thing that I would add, particularly for those who are newer to Discord, check out all the channels, all the rooms. Some of them may be empty. In fact, I can guarantee some of them are going to be empty at any given time, but they're a great place to chat one-on-one with people, find out different things. I, for one thing, will be hanging out a lot in the REM rooms, trying to accommodate some of our farther flung attendees, and because I like to have a snack. And those are meeting every 6 hours around the clock because it's midnight somewhere, right? And who doesn't like a good snack?
Some of them may be moved depending on requests we get, but basically they're happening every 6 hours. And the tradition with REM at the qep'a, some people, not everyone, some people go to bed. Those who don't go to bed actually do go to a restaurant at midnight to have a snack and do a little more talking. So the inspired by real REM, we're having virtual REM. Feel free to bring a snack along and pretend like it's midnight in your time zone and just have some good conversation with other people.
My one regret about the virtual REM is that I cannot eat off of other people's plates, which is, of course, a qep'a tradition.
Okay, I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover in this opening ceremony and state of the KLI.